You're now listening to the 11:30 podcast. Enjoy the show.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 11:30 podcast, Dreonwheels is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. No, with me, yeah. I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 11:30 podcast, Dreonwheels.
Yo, what it do, everybody, man? We back at it, man. A new season of the 11:30 podcast. What's goody, man? I'm back at it, yo. Appreciate everyone tuning in, man. Here on YouTube, y'all already know it's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Welcome back, everyone, to the 11:30 podcast. Yes, man, I'm back. I'm excited, man. Haven't done this episode and this podcast show in a bit. I appreciate everyone that been rocking with me over the last couple of months, though. We've been doing beyond 11:30, so definitely shout out to Brian B, Charnel, Harley, the whole crew, man. It's been fun, it's been exciting, and of course holding it down with the rest of the side. But you guys, man, I'm definitely thrilled to be back at it here on the podcast show, you guys, man. So you guys, if you're new to the show and you haven't done so already, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. Definitely hit that subscribe button down below, you guys, man. Like it, comment, share it, do all that great stuff. And don't forget to follow the 11:30 podcast on all social media platforms. All right, man. Now that's out the way, man. We about to get into the good stuff, the fun, man. I got a dope guest, man. Like I've been telling you guys, I got a great guest coming throughout this season. The nerves are here, but I'm excited. You guys, man. Vitelle Webb, you guys, man. Yo, she's an entrepreneur, entertainer, music artist, you guys. A mother of three, a writer, a public speaker, producer, director, just to name a few, man. She's a woman that wears many hats, man. But she's going to be joining here on the 11:30 podcast show, season premiere. We're going to be chopping it up with her, man, having fun. We ain't going to waste no more time. Actually, we're going to bring on the wonderful Vitelle. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. It's going great. Thank you for that awesome introduction. I see you prophesying a little bit because you said music artist, and I'm not officially a music artist yet, but that is coming in the near future. So
My bad.
ahead.
Hey, it's all good. I appreciate it. How's everything, though?
It's going great. I am coming to y'all from Orlando, Florida. I'm in Orlando this week, attending seminars and speaking engagements and all kinds of stuff going on. So I'm really excited to be popping on this podcast all the way from Orlando.
Okay. Shout out to Orlando. Where you actually from, though? You said you're in Orlando, but where you from?
Atlanta. So I'm born in Ohio, but I haven't lived anywhere for more than 2 years in my entire life except for Atlanta. So I claim Atlanta. So shout out ATL.
Okay. All right. ATL in the building. That's what's up. Okay. This is the first time having you on the show, and once again, I appreciate you having you on the podcast show. But for my listeners and viewers, tell everyone something about yourself.
Okay. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, tell everyone just a little bit about yourself. Although I told them, you're an entrepreneur, entertainer, though. But yeah.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm an entrepreneur. I do all of the different things. Actress first. That's where I started. And then again, moved to Atlanta in 2009 to pursue my career further. So since then, I have founded a whole production company called Us Three Productions. We have shows, live productions, movies, books. I'm a published author now. I do so much, but at the end of the day, it's all about the message for me. And if what I'm doing doesn't align with the message, then it does not work for me. So my message is all about healing, overcoming trauma, helping people to just live their best lives. I myself have been through a lot of trauma in my life. So I have overcome so much, and now I am triumphant, and my life is all about helping other people to be triumphant too. And I use my gifts and talents to do that.
Okay, awesome. How does this journey begin for you? You talked about, you've been through trauma, and your mission is to, help people, and how this, journey begin for you, on this, healing process, helping everyone else also too.
That's a good question because I can't really pinpoint where it began. I feel like this has just always been in me. It's always been a part of me. So like even as I was going through some of the traumatic experiences, I was always writing. I was always creating something that helped me get through it, but also helped me keep my eye on the prize or look at the light at the other end of the tunnel, so that I knew, I would always tell myself, this is going to be a book one day, this is going to be a movie one day. I just kind of always try to understand that that's happening right now is for a reason, even if it seems like the worst situation in the world at the moment. It's got to be for a reason, it's got to be for something good. And so I feel like that's just something that's always been in me to do that. I don't really know when it started. But as far as full time, I can pinpoint that moment was in 2009 when I got fired from my last and final boss. I would often get fired for the most insane reasons. 9 times out of 10, it was because someone didn't like me. So I found myself like discouraged, obviously, because I could not keep a job to save my life, even though I always had this intent to be the best person in there. Like, I don't care where I'm working at, I'm going to do the best. I'm going to be the best at my job. I'm going to do it better than anyone else has ever done. So I always had that kind of drive, which you would think would be beneficial for the company, for me to work for them, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Often inspired people a little too much. I inspired people to follow their passions and create and do all these things, so they didn't stay on a job if I was encouraging them to, do what they love the most. So I often would get fired for the craziest reasons. And the last time was in 2000, going into 2009, when I was told I am too pretty to have a normal job and I'm going to have to be an actress. So I was like, okay, Lord, that is my cue. I'm out of here and I'm not going back. I'm not going to do this again, because I kept fighting against that calling of entrepreneurship and everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and kept doing what I felt was logical. We need a job. We need to make money. We have to pay bills. We have to do this. And
Mhm.
I just kept getting redirected from that. So I finally embraced it in 2009.
Okay, that I think that is very interesting, though. You said people didn't like you. What was it? Because you had this bright spirit of you, though, and that people, didn't want to, be associated with or something?
Yeah, I think a lot of times that is the case. Like when you're too real or too inspiring or too something, that it causes people to look in themselves and see, like, okay, she's got something that I want, and whether it's jealousy or just they start beating themselves down, like having a pity party or that victim mentality that seems like I want to be there where she is. And because she's there, I'm going to be mad at her, instead of joining forces and, expecting to be able to work even better together. A lot of times people will go more to the negative side and not like you for whatever reason. Sometimes your spirits just clash, like whatever reason it is, like you just can't let it stop you from being yourself at the end of the day. So
Oh wow. Yeah, you definitely can't let that stop you, though. It's gonna be a lot of people that are intimidated in a way
right.
of
That-
your character, and especially when you're passionate about something too. A
right.
lot of people are not, very passionate about something, then the next person, like, you're passionate about everything you do and stuff like that, and then people look at it as, being cocky, or she's,
Right.
like, you can't pay attention to what too many people, say or think about you too. So, I think you're on the right path, though. Right path, though. But you got a passion, though. You got a passion for a community activist, though. But before I ask that question, though, where did you see yourself at? As a young woman, did you always, vision that you wanted, because you say you didn't know where it came from, just wanted to just help everyone, though. But did you always, wanted to do this, or just life just led you in this direction?
Acting is what I'd always wanted to do. I can't even think back before I did not want to be an actress. So it's just something I've always wanted to do. And so I would like, as soon as from the moment I had access to TV, I would be watching. I couldn't just watch something, I had to be in it. Like, so I remember playing along with Jurassic Park. I would be adding my own lines and my own script to and I'm acting with I was in the movie the whole time. I got a whole different version of the movie y'all haven't seen because I was in it. So, I've just always done that. It just was a desire. And so acting was the first passion. I didn't understand then, obviously, how much it was going to be a life changer for other people. And I was going to be able to use that talent, that God-given gift, to help other people's lives. I didn't understand that until I started going through the traumas that I went through. And then, I kind of understood the assignment a little better. So, yeah.
Okay, okay. What was your favorite movie? You said Jurassic Park, right?
Man. Yeah, that
What?
was one of my first ones that I think
Yeah.
The Lion King was the first script I ever had memorized. Like I could quote it right off the top of my head. So I would just be acting along with it, saying all the lines and everything. But as far as favorite movie, oh, I don't know if I really had a favorite movie because there was so many. I think one
Too
of my
many.
first favorite movies was probably Bad Boys, which is
I,
so awesome
hey.
that the most recent one that came out is like, oh my gosh, this is my whole life from childhood to now. Like I'm still in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Bad,
those
bad,
are one of my first
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. Bad Boys is an original though. I like all of them. Bad Boys 1, 2, 3, and obviously the last one. That's awesome though. That's really awesome though. Being growing up and wanting to be an actor and stuff like that. How was that support from your family? From your loved ones and your close ones around you? Because knowing to wanting to be an actor, you know, uh, it, the window is not that big, but if you put all the work into it and you have that great support system, you could achieve it. So how was that for you?
You know what? I could tell from the moment you said music artist in the beginning that you must hear from God even more than you realize. Because it's so funny you should ask that question because that is something that God's been dealing with me on even in just the last few days. I feel like I've been on a spirit walk since I've been on Orlando. It's crazy the transformation that's happening right now behind the scenes. But a lot of it has to do with what you just asked is like I'm dealing with the fact that I did not have that support and I did not have
Mm,
like I'm looking at people now. They tell you, find a mentor, look at surround yourself by people where you want to be and look at the people that are achieving already the success that you hope to achieve. And so in my attempts to do that, I'm like, for one, I can't ever find anybody that's really doing what it is that I see myself doing. Like it's just such a unique thing in itself. But when I try to find somebody that's even close to reaching that, I notice that they all have something in common, and that's that they had that support system and that family dynamic. And they had, whether it was their parents selling everything they own to invest in what it was that they're doing,
mhm,
and 9 times out of 10 they're married and they have this amazing spouse that can afford to flourish their lifestyle to follow their dreams and all this. And I'm just like looking at what I don't have and never had, and then thinking how much harder it is for me to achieve. And so I just consider that as a part of the testimony as well, because there are people out there, just like every one of my testimonies, who don't have that family support and don't have that dynamic. And so they end up giving up because they feel like I'm doing this on my own. I'm the only one that sees this vision, this picture, and I have to go at it by myself. And that's like almost impossible. Anyone who's successful has like a team behind them, their family, something, pushing them. They didn't just do it with their own power and their own mind. So that being a part of my testimony, I feel like will help other people who fit those shoes, because I am doing it and I will continue to do it. And yes, it may be a little bit harder for me and maybe a little bit more challenging because I didn't have that push. But now, as I build and grow where I'm at right now, I'm developing that support system by building my own team and bringing on people who do understand the mission, the assignment. They see the vision. I'm constantly praying for them, even the ones I haven't met yet, to continue to come and be a part of what we're doing, because I understand that together with that support system, we're going to accomplish so much more. And so I'm
mhm.
building that family now that I didn't have. And I'm also being that support for my kids. I literally just had this conversation last night with my son, who is going to SCAD University right now. I am so proud and so excited for him, but I got emotional when I was talking to him because like he understands that I'm giving him something that I didn't even have. And that is so
Mhm.
important to me, like for him to have that support. Like, what is it that you want to do with your life? What are you passionate about? We're not going to do what the world says we need to do. We're going to find what you're passionate about, and then we're going to figure out a way to make that make money. So he's passionate about film. He's kind of following my footsteps a little bit. Also making sure I don't want you to follow him. I don't want you to do it because I'm doing it. Do it because you're passionate about it. So he's more like the behind the scenes. He likes to write. He has that creativity. It's in him. It's hereditary apparently. But he has that support system to say, okay, whatever it is, I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. Whatever it costs, that will never be an issue. How much it costs, like we're going to make that happen. You're going to have that support that I didn't have. And I can only imagine how successful I would have been way before, even more higher than where I am at now. But I'm imagining now how more successful I'm like, by the time you're 20, you're going to be a billionaire. Like that's what I tell my
Mm.
son. Like I can just imagine, because of that support system, and it is just so important.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That support system is fundamental, though, real fundamental. And you mentioned actually earlier in the show about your trauma, though. Is that related to also when you were young, didn't really have that support system, growing up? How was that? Was your parents in your life, or they just wasn't very supportive of you being an actor?
Right, absolutely. It has everything to do with it. And that's why now, where I'm on this just self evaluation journey, I'm realizing like that's really where it starts. Even before the traumatic experiences themselves, it starts with the family neglect or the family dynamic. And so my mother, being an African American woman, raised me.
Okay.
My whole family is your complexion. And here I am, standing out, didn't fit in at all, was often made to, and not always purposely by the family, but was often naturally made to feel like I don't belong here. And then at the time, I didn't even know earlier on that my biological father was white. I just you're gonna laugh, but I was told that Michael Jackson was my dad, and I honestly believed that for a long time. So I did not understand. I just thought, hey, I look like Michael Jackson. We got the curly hair, we got the light, and I didn't register when I was younger. Like I just have made up my mind. Michael Jackson is my daddy. I don't see him is because he's on tour all the time. So this was my life. And so then to find out, and I'm being raised by a very militant black woman, mind you, and so I was already kind of taught to not like these people over here. And then to
Wow.
say, oh yeah, so one of them is your daddy. Like what? Now I halfway hate myself. And now I'm seeing and understanding, okay, this is why everybody didn't really like me, or I kind of felt, out of place, and like people treated me differently because I was the lightest one in the neighborhood and the family and the everything. And so that definitely caused a lot of damage in the very beginning before the experience even started. And it
Mhm.
kind of shaped how I handled different experiences, who I allowed to come into my life. Some of my experiences, such as divorce and domestic violence, like I was choosing people based on that initial upbringing. And so, yeah, that is such a big deal now. And that's one of my core missions is like to help other parents to break that cycle, to break that curse, because so it's so rampant right now. Like almost everybody can relate to what I'm saying right now in some way. Not necessarily the
Mhm.
light skin thing, but like how you were raised, whether you were neglected, whether you were loved and supported. Like that is so important to remind parents to do, because you don't realize what an effect it's going to have on you long term, and how your future is going to be completely shaped by this thing that you don't even realize is affecting you at the moment. So yeah.
Mhm. I think that's an awesome story. Obviously, where you're at right now is it's the journey, and the way life takes you. That at the end of the day, I think you appreciate it all. Though, at what moment did you realize that? Wait a minute, Michael Jackson ain't my dad, though.
I don't know. I still claim him to this day. But nah, I don't really know. I don't really know what
Okay.
because I was too young to really, register. I just remember that being a thing for me and having that connection.
Okay.
And then that's probably one of the things that really helped me, since I didn't have the support to say you can be an actress, you can be this entertainer, whatever you want to be. I believed I could because my daddy was like, my daddy was awesome. He out here performing and doing all these things, so I can do that too. So
I
that
love it.
probably, assisted in the foundation a little bit as well.
I love it. I love it. I love how you took that. You're like, look, he on TV, I can do it too. So and I commend you. From going and going through the things you went through. Obviously with your family, that's a real tough situation, especially where your own family, your own blood try to push you away or make you feel less of, or anything like that, when we family and you supposed to, everyone's supposed to love each other and support each other. So hey, look at you where you at supposed to, you where you are at right now, where you supposed to be. So I dig
And
it though.
I think a lot of that is because I understand now, like how difficult it is for them to give something that they didn't have.
Mm.
So it took a lot of forgiveness and processing to understand, like, I can't blame my mom for everything anymore. I can't be mad at her because she didn't get what I needed either. So how's she gonna give it to me? So that's why it's so important, like, to be that generational curse breaker in the family, because I'm going to stop the cycle right here. Even though I know that it's going to be difficult for me to give my kids what they needed because I didn't get it and she didn't get it and her mom didn't get it. And it just goes back so far. Like, I have to decide, you know what? I'm going to have to get it somehow. If I got to go to training, if I got to go to counseling, therapy, workshops, whatever I got to do to get what it is that I need my kids to get, and then explain to them, like, this is difficult for me because I didn't get it, but I'm doing my best as I can. And I hope y'all understand that this is, that I'm giving you my best, and I expect you to give your kids even better. Like, from this point on, this is where the buck stops here, right? So
Okay.
just helping them understand, like, okay, they got it, and they understand that whatever they might not have gotten, that I tried my best, and it's because I didn't get it that I couldn't give. So they'll keep it going and keep it growing.
Okay. I was there for you, explaining to your kids though, you look at, I didn't, receive this type of, love or attention, from my parents though, but, I'm giving it to you, how was that for you, because you didn't get it when you were younger.
Right. I mean, kids don't really understand nothing for real half the time, but it's about planting the seeds. So
Yeah.
just taking the time to explain that from the very beginning. And then as they got older, they understood it a little better. Maybe I was able to talk about it to a little more extent as they got older and understood things better. But then, as teenagers, we're going through the stage with my second son right now where it's like, it's not that he doesn't understand, he just don't care. So it's like, but at the same time, I still remain persistent and consistent with making sure that he hears it, and that even if he doesn't understand until he's grown and has kids of his own, it's going to come back to him that, oh, now I see what my mom was talking about. So just, keeping that consistency. So it's not easy, even, at different stages of life, but it's just important that you do it anyway.
Okay, okay. I dig that. I definitely dig that. Okay, speaking of not easy though, being an actor, I know it's, definitely not easy, doing the travel and, being on different movie sets and everything. You've been in wonderful movies such as, Tyler Perry's I Can Do Battle by Myself, the CW's Vampire Diaries. What's been some of your favorite shows to be in, and also how was that, working with, Tyler Perry in that movie, I Can Do Battle by Myself, which is one of my favorite ones he got out, and also, Vampire Diaries and, others.
How was it like for me
Yeah.
working with them? So I mean, so being on set is, I'm just so passionate about that I don't care how big or small the role is, just the act of being present there and working and seeing all the hustle and bustle that's going on behind the scenes. That is just always just my happiest place. If you can find your happy place, mine is on set. I don't care what it
Okay.
is. But and I don't really have like a favorite project. I think if I have to choose a favorite project, it would be the most challenging ones, which are not always the what some people would consider the biggest ones. So my most challenging role has been in a show called Angry Insecure Men. It was actually a stage production. That was my most challenging role because I literally had to cry through the entire show. I had to carry the entire show because I was in just about every scene. So it's like by the time I'm crying through this scene, I had to get beat up a lot because it's about domestic violence. So I'm getting beat up, I'm crying, I'm doing all this, and I got to quickly go back, change my whole thing because it's a new day, fix up like I wasn't just crying, and then get ready to cry and get beat up again. That was a whole experience. So surprisingly, as far as roles go, that was my favorite role to play, which was actually a stage production. As far as the film and television and things, like, I just love being present there. So
Okay.
even working behind the scenes, I have done my share of extra work and stand-ins and all the behind the scenes that you may not even actually see me on the film in the movie, but it still was just the act of being there. I really enjoyed working with Tyler Perry. That was one of the reasons that I moved to Atlanta instead of going to California, was because I was like, you know what? I'm going to work with Tyler Perry. He was doing he was the closest to doing what I wanted to do at that time. So I could consider him my mentor, who I was looking up to say, I can do that. If he can do it, I can do it. Not to mention our similarities in our stories. Like, I was homeless, living in my car with my two kids. He was homeless, living in his car. When I came to Atlanta, I was helping the homeless in the community, and I was actually assisting at a shelter that he stayed at. And he would be out in his van just riding all the time. Like, I was helping the people that were homeless who were friends with him from when he was homeless, before he even got to where he is now. So it was just that dynamic to see behind the scenes what was really going on, but before what the public sees, and then to be able to see why he's where he is. Because when he comes on set, it's no games. Like, oftentimes when I meet celebrities, they don't look like what they look like on video. Like, they could walk right past and even notice because half the time they just don't look like what they look like. But when he came in the room, you knew that's Tyler Perry. Like, he just commanded. It was just a power and command of respect, and he was just straight to business, and that was what I aspired to be like. So I really enjoyed being able to work with him on multiple projects, and being able to get around that type of energy and say, okay, I'm doing something right, because it looks a lot like what he's doing right now. So yes, I really enjoyed working with him.
Okay. Speaking of challenges, though, and you talked about movie roles, though, how challenging is it for you to, go from one movie role and to give it? You got to go into it all. You got to dive into it. You are the character now, and you're speaking about how you get beat up and how you crying. How emotionally, did that take a toll on you? From switching from that character, or going from another different character, and knowing that you are that character when you get into it.
Well, for one, I usually take breaks in between, so that helps. But it's not really challenging to me. Like, that's one area of my life. Like, I do a lot of stuff, but acting is just the thing that I'm like, okay, I know this is a God-given gift, because half the time I don't even remember doing what I did. Like, I'll see it on video and be like, I did that. Like, I don't even remember. Like, it just comes so naturally to do it and just to embrace that character. But I do take breaks in between. Oftentimes I'll go out into the woods and disappear for a little while, go camping, just completely off the grid for a couple days after a show, just so I can replenish and get back to myself and who I am, and, build my relationship with God and everything that I need to do for me in that moment before I tackle something else that someone needs from me, which is being another character for whatever purpose it is at that moment. So that's usually how I handle it.
Okay, I dig it. You definitely gotta, recuperate, because I know that's a challenge. Because I hear from different people, actors and stuff. How challenging that could be, but obviously it's a God. So I dig it. Oh, are the writer of The Face of the Homeless. I hope I'm saying that right. Stage play, and you are the author of The Homeless System. Can you tell everyone about that?
Yeah, so it's The Face of Homeless. And the reason we put it that way is because we wanted to put a name to this face, and the name is homeless, right? So it's like the face of Bob, or instead of saying the homeless, like categorizing everybody that they're homeless, it's homeless. This is who he looks like, who he or she looks like. And so the whole purpose of that show is to help people understand that you don't know what homeless looks like, that you don't know what this person looks like. When you think of homeless people, you get this vision in mind, and we probably 9 times out of 10, we're all thinking about the same person in our head. But I wanted to show and depict that homeless can be anybody at any point in time, anywhere around you. When I was homeless, going through that situation myself, I looked my best. I was doing the most. I was on the most projects. I was out there in the public more. I was going to all the networking events. I was looking like to the public that this was the best time of my life, when it's just because I had more time on my hand, because I didn't have rent to pay and a house to take care of. But so I was always working. But I made sure I looked my best. That's when I had the most makeup and wore the most jewelry, did all the stuff, because I had something to hide. So you wouldn't have known that I was going home to sleep in my car at night with my kids, right? So, what does homeless look like to you? And that's what the show is all about. Like, you don't know which characters in the show are homeless throughout it. There's so many ups and downs for everybody. It reminds people that everybody's just a paycheck away, that it could be you at any moment. Like, it really is an eye opener for that particular situation. And when I started doing it, I've done that multiple, at least 15 times, I believe. So I've done that show a lot. And every time I get people like, I had no idea. I never thought about it like that. I never, so it's really just an eye opener to make people really think. Also, with the homeless system, I reveal some things in there that help people understand that there's not as much help out here as you think in this country, where you have all these people advertising and doing all this stuff that we're helping the homeless, we're doing this and that. A lot of times it's some of the smallest programs that don't have the advertising dollars that are making the biggest impact. So it's so important to do your research and find out who's really helping, because when I was homeless going through it, and I tell my own story in that book, that I wasn't able to get the assistance. And a lot of that reason is because I was married, because I did not have any drug addiction. I did not have alcoholism. I wasn't a single mom. Like, all of these things I had to have in order to qualify to get help. The qualification was not being homeless. Like, that wasn't enough. So it's like, is me being homeless not enough to get the assistance that I need? Nope. You got to have this, this, and this going on with you too. Okay. If you don't, we can't help you. So that's what I experienced through that. And that's a story that is necessary to be told, because people don't know unless you go through it.
Yeah, you're right about that. You don't know. You don't know at all, though. You know what? Nah, I didn't know that at all neither. I think that is very, very, telling though. What keeps you inspired? You've been homeless, and obviously you didn't have the support system, growing up and everything like that. But what keeps you inspired though right now?
I'll say two things. For one, I got to give credit to God, because I just could not. That's it. Like, period. I could not do this on my own strength. I literally have to turn to my Father in heaven and say, Jesus, take the wheel, because a lot of the things that I'm doing, I look back, I'm like, I don't know how I did that. That seems impossible. The things that I've overcome and accomplished, I can't do nothing but give credit to God. I think sometimes He allows it to be that way so that He gets all the glory, and that's all I can do is give Him the glory for it. But then now that I'm putting out more projects and more people are seeing it, that's another thing that keeps me going and inspired, is that the testimonies from other people that tell me, I was at the verge of ending my life. I was depressed. I was suicidal, all these different things. And your shows or your project or whatever it was, your book, helped me and made me change my mind. Like, that right there, just to hear that every once in a while, and God knows I need that, to hear that feedback after each show. It's like, okay, we got to hurry up and do the next show, because someone else is depending on this message being told. And so that's what keeps me going. It's just so important to help the community and help other people to heal, to grow, to prevent loss of life. There are so many people losing their lives because of suicide, because of domestic violence, even because of homelessness, people freezing out here on these streets. So if I can help prevent loss of life, then that's enough to keep going against whatever odds I may come up against.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Respect on that, though. What would you tell your younger self right now? I mean, it's kind of like a two-part question. What would you tell your younger self uh, as you growing up? Through the your journey and your struggle, and also, do you had faith? Also growing up, on the other side, visualizing that maybe although you said you were God given on being an actor though, but did you see it on the other side where people may come up to you and be inspired about the things that you went through?
So you said, what would I tell my younger self?
Yeah, basically, yeah. What would you tell your younger self now that now you're on the other side, and would you tell yourself keep going, and or not to give up? How would you look back at that situation? You know.
Man, that's a good question. I think, I honestly, It's so much that I would tell myself. I would literally, what I would do is I would put it in a book like I did, and I would send it back to myself and be like, here, read this. Because it's so much. There's so much that I would tell myself. I guess if I had to choose one message, it would be just to hang in there. Like, childhood doesn't last always. Trauma doesn't last always. Whatever experiences you're going through, the storm does not last always. So each one is going to be over, and just it's about what you learn and take from the situation, because it's going to be over eventually. So just, I would tell myself to appreciate where I am right now, no matter how difficult it seems, because we all, I think, get older and wish we could go back to being a kid again. As traumatic as that would be, is like, if I had my mind now that I had, if I had my mind now, then it would be different, obviously. But just learning how to live in the moment is a big thing for me, and I would try to teach myself that.
Okay, definitely gotta live in the moment. Okay, all right, we're gonna move on, you guys, here on the 11:30 podcast show. It's time, you guys, for the 11:30 podcast hot seat, you guys. All right. Let's go. All right, it's time for the hot seat. Vitelle, are you ready? I got 5 questions for you, and we're gonna roll with it. You ready?
Ready, let's go.
Okay, what's been your favorite TV show and why?
Depends on when you ask. Let me see, what's the last one I just watched? From, because it was just the bomb. Yeah, I think it's on, what is it on? It's not Netflix.
MGM.
It's on Prime. Yeah,
Yes.
it is MGM, but it's on Prime.
Yes.
Watch From.
Yes.
Yeah, binge watch.
Have you seen the first? Yeah. Have you seen the new episode yet?
So, okay, hold on. What's today? Because I did have it like on my calendar at one point that it's supposed to be coming out end of September, and I purposely compartmentalized that because I didn't want to think about it because it was stressing me out. I'm like, I cannot wait.
Okay.
till
Okay.
season 3.
No spoilers already. It came out yesterday though, so I
Oh
checked
my
out the
gosh,
first.
why you just remind me I got too much to do today? You done messed me up now. I'm just gonna tuck that away. I can't think about it.
Okay.
That was my
Okay.
show.
Okay. I dig it. I love this show. I love it.
Great
I love it.
acting,
Okay.
great storyline, just everything was great about it. I couldn't find nothing wrong.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. What's been your least favorite thing about being the actor?
My least favorite thing about being an actor?
Yes.
Ooh. Maybe the downtime in between. Because you got to keep consistent work in order to make some money, and sometimes there's downtime in between where it's kind of like the dead zone. I've tried to embrace those moments because I know when it gets busy, it gets busy. But when it gets slow, it's like, what do I do with my life? So yeah, it's the downtime.
Gotcha. Okay. If you can go back to a specific moment as a child, what would it be?
Do I have to answer that? Look, none of them. Oh, that's hard. I don't know. I can't really pick a point that I would want to go back to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've been stumped on a question. I'm really trying to think about that.
All right. Yeah.
Christmas with my grandparents. That would be, yeah. That would be Christmas with my grandparents. I knew I could find something.
Okay, gotcha. That's cool. Not a problem. If you had a warning label on you, what would it say?
If I had what?
If you had a warning label on you, what would it say?
I'm too much, and yes, I embrace that now. I can't tell you how many times I've been told she's too much. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm supposed to be.
Too much. Okay. I got you. All right. Last question. What would you do with 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Wow. Probably sell them because it's a hot topic right now. And I would probably make a TikTok video and say, get your baby oil from me. I might have to anoint it or something. I would start a whole business.
Johnson & Johnson, we in business now, huh?
No, I would be like, if you want to make your TikTok video with this baby oil, because this is what's trending right now, get your bottle from me, and I sell them for cheaper than they sell them at the store, and then go ahead and profit on that.
Okay. All right, cool.
Oh,
I
no.
appreciate you for having fun and coming through here on the 11:30 podcast show. Been great having you on. Thank you for taking the time. Before you go, any questions, anything you would like to say? Any shout outs?
Yes, let me go on and just do a shameless plug, y'all. Go ahead and get my book. Get your copy of I Am a Poetic Ensemble. The next part two of this is coming out very soon, so pre-orders will be available soon. But go to my website, vitelle.net. It's vitelle.net. Make sure you follow me on all your social media platforms. From that website, you can subscribe via email, or you can even text me at 770-626-5075 to subscribe via text and get your copy of my book and stay in the loop with what we got going on.
All right, you guys, man. Definitely get a copy of the books. The links will be down below here in the description. So make sure you go visit her website and follow her on social media too, Vitelle. This has been awesome. Keep killing it and keep inspiring others. I thank you for taking the time out once again for coming through here on the 11:30 podcast show. For real, it's been really dope having you. Can't wait to chat with you soon on the next episode. But keep doing your thing. For everyone who's definitely tuning in, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with the WTF moment, and we're gonna wrap up the show, man. Don't move. You're listening. You're watching to the 11:30 podcast.
DC is unique. We match other world-class cities pound for pound in dining, nightlife, arts, culture, theater, sports, outdoor activities, green spaces, and the list goes on and on. But nowhere else can compete with our monuments, our museums, and memorials. And no other city has as many free things to do. Add it all up, and DC's diversity of experiences is truly unmatched. There's only one DC.
Back here on the 11:30 podcast show. Appreciate everyone sticking with me throughout the break. Yo, Vitelle Webb, thank you so much for coming through here on the 11:30 podcast show. Season premiere, man. Back at it. I'm really thrilled and excited to have you guys rocking back with me, man. For real, to me, to be back on and bringing wonderful guests each and every week on this new season of the 11:30 podcast show. So it's going to be great, man. For real. Once again, Vitelle Webb, thank you for coming through here on the show. In the description down below, you guys, man, hit the links, man. Get a copy of her latest book, and definitely go check out. You haven't checked out Vampire Diaries. It's a show that came on the CW, man. Really cool show. If you haven't seen her, she was also in Tyler Perry's I Can Do Bad All By Myself. So yo, man, it was a really great episode. I thank you, Vitelle Webb, for coming through on the show. One thing she did say, man, having family support, that is really, really important. It doesn't matter what are you doing, man, whether you create your own family. A lot of people just think, man, yo, family is just the one that I was just born into this world with. And a lot of times, some people don't get along close with their, biological family, the ones, they were born into, but rather just create their family along the way. So regardless, man, whatever family, you created it along the way here in this journey in life, man, support is definitely vital when, you're trying to do something, man, where it's really not the norm. It's 2024 and the norm really is just, be an entrepreneur, right? Or better yet, screw the 9 to 5. A 9 to 5, I heard somebody was like 9 to 5 is really just to support your hustle or your business or whatever you're trying to, start up. It's you don't want to, look up and it's 15, 20 years later and now you realize you still at this job because they could fire you any day of the week they feel like it or anytime. So, but it's crazy, man. But yeah, definitely gotta have major support. Like I said, man, me doing the podcast, man, support is vital. And sometimes, man, you get support from the people that you meet along the way, man. That you meet along the way and that you create, man. So It's all cool. And I mentioned family, man. I got my little man right here sitting up on the table with me. Why? Right during the break, man, he was like, "Man, I gotta come in there with daddy." And I was like, "All right, man, come on in here with daddy. That's all fine. I'm cool with that though." But it's just the moments, man, you create, man. Even like yesterday when I was gone all day at the doctor's, and before I left out, he was like, "Daddy, give me that little I frown and just look, and I'm like, oh man, here you go. Know how to make you feel, know how to make you feel bad and everything. And yeah, man, it's a joy being a dad, man. It's a joy being a father. And I was just chatting with someone else. Actually, the doctor was asking me a question. He was like, well, what do you do? And I was like, well, chase around a 2-year-old toddler all day, and that's a full-time job. So in itself, man, myself and his mother though, but yeah, family is important, man, and creating family along the way and that have your back, man, and support you, man, because yo, I'd talked to some people, man, who just was, they was like, yo, man, my family didn't rock with me at all. It's like Vitelle Webb, she didn't really have that major support from her family growing up, man. So it's definitely vital, man, especially when you have kids of your own too. You grow up and you have kids of your own, you definitely want to show them that support and let them know, like, look at mommy, daddy is here for you. Although I didn't get it when I was young, look here, we're gonna try to change this generational curse that we got going on, man, for real. But you guys, man, speaking of going on, man, it's a lot that's going on in the world right now, you guys. It's October 2nd, back at it for the 11:30 podcast show. Yo, man, let's just get into it, you guys, man. It's time for the WTF moment of the week, you guys. Yes, WTF moment of the week, man. I haven't done this in a minute. All right, like I said, it's so much that's going on in the world right now. And I think we all heard of the US port situation, and I was just strolling on social media, browsing, and I'm like, what in the world is going on, man? I mean, this company, the US port from Maine all the way to down to Texas, went on strike, man. They was asking for more money. And yo, I didn't do all of my research on it though, but you know what I think of it? Because I saw a couple of videos of it, and I'm just, I'm like, okay, and I'm not one of those guys who want to just throw it to the side and be ignorant and not pay attention to it because it could be really serious, though. But I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's about the money. I think what it really is, though, is about these automated systems that's coming in and about to replace a lot of people. You see it at McDonald's. You see it at Walmart checkouts. You see it. They got more checkouts than they do the actual people in the lines and stuff like that. So, I seen a video of how, how these U.S. ports, be operating, and some of which I saw was, the automated ones. And that's what these guys and girls are really mad about. They're not really mad. I mean, of course, they want to get paid more and, they want to be able to take care of their family and everything. But I think what it really is just about the automated the automated coming in and just taking over the jobs. I went to the doctors. I was telling you guys a little earlier. I get into the doctors, man. I ain't been there 6 months. I come back in 6 months, and I'm like, all the people at the desk, they just on the computers or they talking, and you got to go over to the wall and sign in on the iPad and everything like that. So times are very, very changing, man.
Single port or lockdown. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you. And you.
The world we are living in right now, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the election year. It's so much BS that's going on in the world, man. For real. My man Brian B, he said, man, I don't believe nothing until I see it, you know. But hey, I'm starting to be like that. Don't believe anything, but I believe it though. You know, it could happen, but yo, man, crazy world we live in. Once again, Vitelle Webb, thank you for coming through here on the 1130 podcast show. Yo, I'm about to head on out of here, man, on this season premiere episode of the 1130 podcast show. I appreciate everyone tuning in with me. Yo, you ready to go? Yeah, my little man ready to rock and roll, though. Hey, yo, until next time, man, I'll see you guys on the next episode of the 1130 podcast show. Be smooth, be easy, stay safe, stay blessed, man. Give all the glory to God, man. Won't he do it? Yo, until next time, it's your man Dre, a.k.a. Dreonwheels, and I'm out.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dreonwheels is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dreonwheels is the one.
He the one, nigga. So
let's
he
get
breeze,
it,
baby. He the one.
Who with me?
So he breeze, baby.
Let's get it. You with me? Yeah, they gon' hate, but they ain't stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre